apply. So there's more exemptions this time around. Some say it's more organized this time around. Here with more is Vinoo Varghese, is a defense attorney. He's a former prosecutor, and he happens to be as well a visiting faculty member at Harvard Law. I think I saw a news story or two about Harvard the last few days. Anyway, Vinoo, let me ask you, what would you say about, if I just said to you, how someone said, oh, I heard Trump has a travel ban. Is that like the last time? How would you compare the two?
Yeah, look, he won last time. So as far as he's concerned, he's played with house money. And so he can push the bounds of this as far as he wants. And it seems that he's providing a decent justification for it, which is that data from Homeland Security indicates that people from these countries overstay their visas. So it's a little bit less of intense rhetoric that she had back in 2017, where ultimately there was an injunction issued by Judge Donnelly in Brooklyn, New York, and then that went to the U.S. Supreme Court, and he won over there. And they said the executive can do this. So
because he won, to your point then, he's on even, his legal standing is better this time around? Is that the point?
Yeah, I mean, the Supreme Court was very clear in saying that, you know, these kind of things they will defer to the executive and not read into his statements. I mean, the dissent was intense back by Justice Sotomayor, who said it's very clear that, and they used his words, his tweets, and everything against him, that he was trying to hurt or trying to ban Muslims, because he talked about banning Muslims. What
would you say, and now I know with the disclaimer that you're teaching a class at Harvard, but what would you say about that particular issue? The president had some interesting comments about it earlier on international students and the visa program, whether they should be banned. Basically paraphrasing, he said something to the effect of, we're not trying to ban all international students, we just want Harvard to give us a list so we can check people out. So what's your view on what's going on there and what the law says about it?
Look, again, it's going to be a question of deference to the executive, and I believe he's going to prevail. It doesn't seem like what he's asking for is that unreasonable. They want to make sure that the students that come here are not engaged. I mean, look, they're not on this soil, so they don't have First Amendment rights. Right. So, I mean, if you're on the soil, you have First Amendment rights. So I think that, you know, to the extent that Harvard's fighting, this may be something that they lose. They won the injunction that allowed, you know, on commencement day, but I don't think that's going to last.
So how does it end up then? And maybe it ends with international students who are still at Harvard, but they fork over a list, because that's what the president said earlier. It wasn't like, oh, I don't want any international students. What's the end game here?
Yeah, I think it's, look, the end game really is for President Trump to flex his muscle and show that he's in control here. And the reality is our Constitution is, the most reading of it is that is permitted. So I think you know, to the extent that this becomes an issue of national security, courts don't get involved in that, right? So they're not there, and the Roberts Court has consistently said that there's a deference to the executive, particularly on foreign policy issues or issues affecting national security.
Okay, Vinoo, thank you for coming on again, explaining all of that and weighing in on all of that. We appreciate it. All right, as we continue here, I know we spent so much time talking about tweets back and forth between the president and Elon